Start the recording and welcome everybody to One Heart, One Mind. And Jesse's our music today. Woohoo!
Hello. You ready?
We are ready.
Okay. I just got off a 3-week tour, and it was so fun to bring this song on tour. Y'all know it. It's a beautiful day. But to have a room full of 100 people all go huh at the same time was very satisfying. So, we'll make a little mini version of that in your own living room. I wake up early to the morning sun. I don't know how it does it every day. It rises up and then it falls again. Born only to die away. Look in the mirror and I see myself. I don't know how I do it every day. Standing on this big blue rock, not knowing what I'm doing here. Still believing there's a reason, keep on keeping on my way. Each time I open my eyes, that's when I get to decide how I am gonna show up and show out in this life. 1, 2, 3, huh! Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Sing it. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. If no one's around you, sing it to your dog. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Or your plants. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Look at the clock, it's running day and night. Got no control in those little clock hands. A little soldier just marching through time. I'm so glad I am not a clock, I am alive and I can choose to dance. Each time I open my eyes, that's when I get to decide how I am gonna show up and show out in this life. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, huh! Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Yes, it is. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Sing it, declare it. Everybody get up. Say, oh, it's a beautiful day. One more time. Everybody get up. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, get up, get up, get up, and be grateful. I'm up, I'm up, I'm up, and I'm thankful. Get up, get up, get up, and be grateful. I'm up, and I'm ready to play. Yeah. Everybody, get up, cause it's a beautiful day. I saw you, Michelle. Yes. Everybody, get up. Oh, cause it's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up. Oh, cause it's a beautiful day. Everybody, get up. Oh, cause it's a beautiful day.
Yeah. It is. It is a beautiful day. Thank you for that, Jesse. Oh God, I love your energy. And I would like to welcome our practitioner of the day, Rob McGregor himself.
That would be me. And I owe you guys a big apology. I absolutely prepared something for you, and it was big and it was significant and it was heavy. And last night, in the middle of the night, I concluded it's too heavy for our Sunday service. And it's which is, I believe, Sunday morning is the time to be uplifted and everybody feels good. And so I apologize for that. If anybody wants to hear what I figured out, I will have it on. I will do it on our Tuesday class.
Okay.
If you're inclined to show up for that.
Yeah.
And have any interest at all. In the meantime, I'm just going to do an affirmation for everybody, if that's okay.
That is
And that is by that I mean I'm going to do the invocation. And so let us chill out, lean back, relax, and as we always do, just open ourselves to the presence of God, which was always there, of course, but just when we turn our attention, suddenly there it is. It's so reliable. It's so wonderfully predictable and so wonderfully opulent in the goodness that you can feel simply by turning your attention and saying, I feel God now, and it feels good. And I am so grateful for the subject we have before us today. The idea that there is something going on between our ego self and our true nature. And as I've always known, our true nature is that we are God. And our ego self is that we are pretending we are not God, but we do that because it's fun. And we get to play in the physical universe in any event, because it is our true nature to move in the direction of God, to move in the direction of who we really are, and to learn more and more and more about ourselves. That is our destiny, and we are feeling that now. And the more we allow ourselves to experience that, the better life feels, the more warmth we feel coming from the direction of that which we identify as God, knowing that as we move in the direction, life just gets better and life feels better, and life is just plain wonderful. And Yvonne, you may need to mute yourself, or somebody maybe echoing.
I can do it. It's
Cool, cool.
I got it.
Wait, you muted Rob.
Oh dear. Rob, I muted you. Rob, can you? Yeah,
This,
I'm gonna try it again. The little boxes are moving around, and I think I hit the wrong one.
I
There we
believe
go.
it's
anyway,
bet. Yeah, there you go.
anyway, uh, just the fact that we are here together in this common knowledge that the goodness that exists is all one thing, and we are knowing that, we are feeling that, and we are feeling great about life. We are feeling optimistic about our own existence as we move through life, as we go forth today and look for the good and look for the blessings. And what do you know, there they are. Ain't that wonderful, and ain't life sweet? So thank you, God. Thank you for this service. Thank you for every individual that has shown up. Each one is glowing. Each one is a bright light, and each one is contributing to our experience today. Thank you, God, for all this that is. Thank you for Michelle, our wonderful leader. Thank you for Jesse, who's just can't be put into words how good it is to hear from her. And so I am so delighted to say that I am grateful for the whole package. Thank you, God. I release my word, and together we say, and so it is.
That is perfect.
Mm,
All
mm.
right. I gotta tell you, you were not alone in the deepness that I started to get into with this topic. It's kind of deep.
Well,
So
maybe I'll leave it. I don't think you were going where I ended up going, but
but I'm looking forward to hearing about it at our Tuesday night.
we'll compare notes on Tuesday. Meantime, we might have an affirmation.
Oh, we do. Yes, we do. Hang on. We have a March affirmation. Here it is.
All right. For those who are interested, the comfort of the Spirit come unto the stillness of my heart. Peace, like an ocean of infinite life, reflects itself through me and calms every turbulent feeling. I am at peace and rest in the knowledge of rest in the knowledge of the all good which is at hand. And that's from Ernie Holmes. And I'm over and out.
Yes, thank you, Rob. And we'll kick it back to Jesse.
the center of my soul. I can feel you all around me, something holy and untold. But I hear it perfectly. Somehow in the sweetness of now, I can see I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Here and now I can see I was made beautifully. I was made in the image. I was made in the image of love. Beyond books and words and songs, at the gate of all my longing, leaving certainty behind. I take one step and you come running. It's clear. Ooh, in the deepness of here, I can see we were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. Sing that. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. Love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. Love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. Oh, love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. Oh, love, love, flow like water. Love, love, move in me. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. Sing that. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love. We were made in the image. We were made in the image of love.
Woo! Beautiful. We were made in the image of love. Oh, thank you, Jesse. That was absolutely gorgeous. Ah, deep breath as we just kind of drink that all in. And good morning again. And welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. As always, whether you're joining us in real time or replay, you are welcome in this space. We're so glad you're here. And it is always my intention for the Sunday service to be this place that awakens in you the magnificence and the brilliance of who you truly are. So I hope that that's what what you experience today in this surface, something that touches you and just allows that divinity to live actively in your life. And that's what we're talking about today, as Rob suggested, and as the talk title suggests, which I'll get there. I've shared with you before that I sometimes use the suggested talk titles from the larger organization, from Centers for Spiritual Living, and sometimes I don't. When I read today's suggested talk title, which is I Got It, I Lost It, I had no idea what that meant. So I did a little research, and it turns out that it comes from a book entitled The End of Your World, which sounds a bit ominous. It's written by a Zen Buddhist teacher called Arasante. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not. And in it, he explains this idea of I got it, I lost it. He says that it's the juxtaposition between who we know ourselves to be through our human identifications, our human ego self, such as I'm a 70-year-old white woman who's a teacher and a minister and has a huge family, or by our true nature, which is infinite, divine, free, empowered. And we talk a lot about this in metaphysics, right? And, the I got it, I lost it phrase is the way Arashante explains walking through our human spiritual journey, navigating that fine line between living from our divine self and having a human experience. And as I said last week, this is our practice, to become so familiar with our divine self, which is the I got it part, that we allow it to inform our humanness as we walk through our daily lives. And the I lost it piece are the inevitable times which we forget who we truly are, when we're tempted to relate more to the outer world as our supply and our reality than we do to the invisible realm of cause, of God, of love, the source of all things. And that's the human dance. And that's our practice. And we have to be gentle with ourselves as we're dancing this dance. We have to have compassion for ourselves when we fall short of being fully immersed in our God self all the time. And as we continue to practice remembering who we truly are in God, as we have our human experience. And we have to remember to enjoy the dance, as we're dancing it. So and sometimes we need to be reminded of that. In his book, Arashante uses a metaphor to explain this idea of I got it, I lost it. And I found it helpful, so I'm going to share it with you. And he uses the metaphor of a rocket ship. He says that it takes a tremendous amount of energy to get a rocket ship off the ground, to propel it through the atmosphere and into space. But if it has enough fuel to get far enough away from the Earth, it will eventually get beyond the gravitational field of Earth. And then the Earth will no longer have the power to pull it back down. And as a metaphor, we can think of our human ego self and all the voices we hear from the outside world, from our parents and our teachers, media, government. We can think of that as the gravitational force. And Adashante says, this is what we're dealing with in our spiritual journey, staying awake to our true selves, our God selves, by breaking free from this gravitational force of the outside world. And at first, the way in which we practice this might just be as simple as taking a few minutes every day for meditation and prayer, moving from feeling separate and us and them in the world, and then maybe even an isolation, into feeling oneness with our Creator. And then as we continue to practice this, it will gradually begin to be easier and easier to remember who we are as we walk through our busy day. But that doesn't mean that we've gotten completely beyond the gravitational pull of the experience of the world, especially when we encounter challenges. That's always when I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in the world. This is when Arasante says the I got it, I lost it phenomenon. And that's the pull of our perspectives, the juxtaposition between the two, to be able to be grounded in our divine self, even as we're moving through the world of form and in our human journey. So that's the I got it, I lost it. And this is, for me, is why I call daily living the practice. Just being human gives us the opportunity to practice engaging with life from the truth of our divine beingness. It's a call to create a habit or a pattern, as we often talk about, of looking at life through the reality of who we are in God. And in this way, that reality of the higher perspective supports us, not only as we honor the beauty and the magnificence of life when we see all the good stuff, when we're feeling grateful and joyous, that's easier to do than when we're responding to the challenges that we experience in life. We can practice greeting all of our experiences from the viewpoint of the divine self. This is the practice. And this isn't a new idea for us. We talk about this all the time. It's the reason why I love that quote from Howard Thurman: keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. Those moments when we know who we are. And but we also know that we're going to have those moments when we forget, when we get caught in the gravitational pull of the world that is going on around us. And this is the reason our practice takes on so many different forms. We practice in our moments of quiet solitude, and we strengthen the foundation of our knowing God intimately in these moments. We feel its presence. We feel its vibrational energy and all of its attributes. And then we can actively walk through our life with the resonance of this presence, which helps us respond rather than react to what we see and hear and feel all around us. That's the practice. Life is a practice. So life, according to Michelle, is all about perspective, which actually really comes down to our understanding of a few basic spiritual principles. We can ask ourselves, who or what is God? And who am I in relationship to God, to this presence? And as we begin to answer these questions for ourselves, not listening to what anybody tells us, but really knowing them for ourselves, not just believing, but knowing, because, I've said this before, belief is a good start, but it's just a placeholder. It isn't the same as knowing. Knowing comes from experience. It's like looking at a glass of water or drinking the glass of water. Looking at the water gets us in the ballpark, but we don't know what the glass of water will taste like, feel like. We don't know the experience of it until we drink it, until we practice living the answers to these questions. Then we begin to know them through our experience. And as we cultivate a sense of intimacy with life, with this presence of God and with ourselves, and then we begin to develop a pattern of living from our divinity, living our divinity into our humanity. I read this one passage from a woman named Valerie Carr. She's a Sikh woman, and she wrote a book called See No Stranger, which I love. It's really about oneness. I wanted to share this passage with you because she put it so beautifully, and I thought, oh, I got to share that. So she wrote, listening to our deepest wisdom requires disciplined practice. There's that practice piece. And then she really kind of explains the world of form in a nutshell here. She said, the loudest voices in the world right now are the ones running on the energy of fear and criticism and cruelty. The voices we spend the most time listening to in the world and inside our own minds shape the way we see, how we feel, and what we do. When I spend time listening to people who are speaking from their deepest wisdom, I can feel understanding and inspiration and energy nourish the root of my wisdom, but I must not lose myself at the feet of others. My most vigilant spiritual practice is finding the seconds of solitude to get quiet enough to hear the wise woman in me. And I would add that this leads to the practice of living that wisdom in the world. I love this because she really does give voice to the overriding noise that we hear in the world right now. It's crazy, it's confusing, it's fear-based. And yes, we can listen to those around us that have some really, that are like-minded and share their inspiration, but we still have to find our own. We have to know for ourselves. And how we answer these simple questions that I suggested, who are we, or who or what is God, and who are we in relationship to that presence, to God? Asking it, I was thinking as I was writing this, I'm thinking, as I'm asking these questions, they very well might be thinking, well, I already know what I believe. I believe that God is an infinite benevolent being or presence, the source of all creation, and that everything that exists in creation is living within the one life of God, including me, and that I share its nature. And as such, I'm empowered through creative law to co-create by the pattern of my thinking and feeling and being. I co-create my life in God through the use of this law, either consciously or unconsciously. And you might be thinking, I already know that. I can answer these questions. And I would say that if that's what you're thinking right now, then you don't really, then you haven't, because they're not finite questions. These are living questions. This is the practice. These are the questions that we could call explorations or adventures in knowing. They're limitless and unending. And I would say that we have been blessed with the opportunity to daily deepen our knowing of these answers. They're ever changing, they're ever expanding, they're ever evolving into greater and greater expressions of God. That's what I would say. There is no one answer. It is an unfolding and continual exploration. And then that's another reason why I say that I think perspective is everything, and I want my perspective to be continually growing into a greater and greater experience of knowing who I am in God. Think about the perspective that you've lived most of your life from. If you're anything like me, and you probably are, you've generally approached life thinking about what you need to do, what you need to have, who you need to become, what you need to do to fix your life and to make it better. I know that's been my predominant thinking for most of my life. But if we truly know and live from the perspective that we're one with the only power of life that there is in the universe, that this is who we are. I love that Rob said we are God, or in his invocation. Then would we really think that there's something to fix? That's why I suggest that while we may have beliefs that are based in universal truths about God, about ourselves, about our place in the universe, we may not always have a knowing. And these are two different things. That's why these foundational questions are living questions. They're our practice. They give us the opportunity to express what is already true in us, not by seeking to become something other than we already are, but by knowing who we already are, being present with what is, and at the same time, holding the space for a greater and greater expression of who we are in God, opening ourselves up to divine possibility, playing in the imagination of God. I found a Holmes quote. I was looking for something that Holmes said about perspective because, it's Holmes. And here's what I found. This is in this Science of Mind on page 429. He wrote, the perspective of reality is lost when we view life from the range of short-term experience. We could call that the world of form. And then he goes on. Jesus saw beyond the veil and estimated life from the great perspective, the long run of the adventure of the soul. He knew that the law of cause and effect would take care of all. And that, I love this poetic line, that the mills of God would grind the chaff of the unreality from the wheat of the spirit. Wow, that really is poetic and true. The things in life that are unsustainable because they're not in harmony with the divine truth will fall away, just like the chaff from the wheat. You know, I know that I've found this to be true in my life. And our practice is to be with life from this great perspective that Holmes talks about, to practice living from here. You know, our human lives are riddled with obstacles, but from the great perspective, you know, they can just be stepping stones that lift us up so that we can know ourselves better. You know, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to be sad or confused or angry or frustrated at all, but it means that we can be with whatever challenges arise. Because it's not what happens to us, it's how we engage with what happens to us. You know, as divine human beings, we have a choice about whether we see ourselves as these victims or as the victors. You know, it's all a part of the journey of becoming more and more of who we've come here to be. And I love the fact that it's always changing, always moving, always deepening. You know, I'm always knowing more and more about the fact that I'm already whole, complete, and perfect. You know, it's really more about a matter of peeling away the untruths that we've come to believe and that we've given our faith to. I ran across this story. I'm always looking for a story to illustrate. And this story, I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version, the abbreviated version. It's about a young guy who heard that the wisest man on earth could tell him the secret of happiness. So the story goes that he trudges through all these extreme obstacles and conditions. And finally, he arrives at this huge castle where the wisest man on the earth is supposed to live, only to find the castle buzzing with activity, which is not what he was expecting at all. He was expecting some guy with a long beard sitting on a cushion contemplating the meaning of life. But when he finally found the wisest man on earth and all this hubbub and spoke to him, the wise man told him, you know, I don't really have time right now to tell you the secret of happiness, but here, look around the castle and come back to me in an hour. And then he tells him this, but he gives him this job. He says, he gives him a spoon and he says, here, take this spoon, and it has a couple of drops of oil in it. And as you walk around the castle looking at all the wonders, don't let the oil drop out of the spoon. So the young guy goes around, he sees everything, and in a couple of hours he comes back and he tells the wise man about all the wonders that he saw in the castle and the gardens. But the wise man says, well, where's the oil in the spoon? And the young guy looks down at the spoon and realizes that he had forgotten all about the oil and it had all fallen out. And it's a great metaphor for the dance that we do as human beings. You know, that it's really not much different than trying to keep the oil in the spoon all the time as we're walking through our human life. But here's the thing. Here's where our practice comes in. The more we practice getting used to living from the perspective that the oil is always going to be in the spoon, and there's nothing that I can do to change that fact, the more we can relax and just live life from our habitual perspective, from the new pattern of thinking that we're always living in God and that there's nothing in the outside world that can change that, no matter how beautiful or how challenging it is. Nothing will ever change the reality of our being. We're God expressing constantly. I really think that perspective is more than just that simple idea of the glass is either half full or half empty. It's a little deeper than that. I remember when my dear friend Jim Reese, who is now passed on, we were in a Sunday service, I think, and he just blurted out, what if we acted like this stuff actually works? What if we lived in the knowing of who we are? Sounds so simple. But here's the thing. This is why I don't think it's as simple as glass half full, glass half empty, is because our perspective of life is built over decades of reinforcing the ideas that we've accumulated. And they often tell us something completely different than the reality of our being. It tells us that we're not in alignment with the divine reality. And usually we start collecting these ideas somewhere in our childhood, and then we base them on our experience, and that the shifting of our perspective from those things that we've accumulated over the decades takes some practice. It takes some self-compassion. It takes some forgiveness and even more practice. But I don't want to make it sound like this is drudgery. Answering these questions, living these questions on a regular basis supports us in remembering who we are. I was recently reminded, I don't remember where I ran across this. The phrase abracadabra translates to as I speak, I create, which reminds me of how powerful our words are. They are so powerful. As I speak, I create. When we speak our experience into existence by what we think and what we feel, we're empowered by becoming aware of what we're speaking into existence. Do my words say that I'm working on fixing my life? Or do they say that I'm standing in the truth of who I already am? And of course, our words not only reveal our underlying beliefs about who we think we are, they create. They're creative. Our words express our beliefs as our experience. So do I say, I have to do my spiritual work, my spiritual practice? Or do I say, I get to do my spiritual practice? Does our language say that we're becoming divine beings? Or does it say we are divine beings? Can you feel the difference? Can you feel the power in claiming who we are? Is our language boxing us in through our past experience, by the challenges we've had, by the mistakes we've made, by the traumas we've experienced? Does our language betray us? Or does our language free us? Does it set us free? Does it let us play in infinite possibility? Just watching the words we speak is just so powerful. Our words reveal and our words create. They either reveal more of the same or they create something entirely new, something that we haven't even yet experienced, that we can't even wrap our head around because it's so divinely wonderful. Words are vibration. Words are energy, and it's either the energy of our victimhood or our power. What are we speaking into existence in our life? Big question. And here's the thing, our words are the container for our lives. Just like water will take on the shape of the container we put it in, our life will take on the shape of the words we use to create it. So I want to end today. I have a quote. I know I'm going a little bit long, but it's from Ernest Holmes. So I just want to speak his words to us, that it speaks to the understanding of us as metaphysicians, that everything is energy, and that everything has a vibrational frequency, and that our perspective of who we are within the universal order has everything to do with whether or not we step into our inherent power in our oneness with this universal order or not. So I don't think I can say it any better than this. So I'm going to read Holmes's quote. Here's what he said. And this is from, I think it was from Creative Ideas, that little book he has. And Holmes wrote, in transforming energy into power, I'm going with words here, we are uniting an invisible essence with an invisible law, which is the way the universe operates. If we identify ourselves with source, and here's where he really goes in and speaks to today's topic. If we identify ourselves with our source, then our word establishes eternal harmony, transforms everything, rearranges everything to our benefit. It is an act of complete surrender of the human to the divine without the loss of the human, a complete inflowing of the divine into the human. Knowing who we are, living our life in that alive question of who is God, who, what is this presence, and how am I one with it, and how can I live that and bring it into my life? That's the practice. That's the big practice of our life. And let's just embrace it easily and effortlessly. And when we fall down, when we got it, that's great. And when we lose it, that's okay. Let's start again. I got it. I lost it. It's okay. It's a journey. Let's just know who we are. And with that, I'll end and let's pray. So let's move into, I know who God is. I know what that presence feels like. I know beyond belief. I feel it. I am it. All is it. You are it. I am it. You're all it. We're all it. And so I speak my word, my powerful, resonating word of love, of peace, of perfection, of good for everything and everyone. For everyone on this call, for everyone not on this call, for the world, for our country. Let it rise up to the ideals of God, of its founding fathers and mothers. Let us rise to the occasion of knowing who and what we are. I speak this powerful world for our word and for all creatures, all of them, living on it, in it, as it. I just know that good always prevails, that anything unlike the presence of the divine, like the chaff on the wheat, will fall away, and we will stand in the harmony of the all good, of the all that is, of the only power, the only presence, the only reality of life that we are. So for this recognition, this realization, this knowing, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for it all. I'm grateful for this time that we spend together. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for it all. So I just relax in that, knowing all is well. And we say together, and so it is. So that's what I got it. I lost it means. Who knew? So let's see, I'm going to change us back to gallery view so I can see all your beautiful faces. And Lisa, are you doing the, yes, she is. Okay, you want to unmute, sweetheart? Let me find my glasses here. I think I can.
There we go. Yes, it's I. And this is the time that we give back for our wonderful gathering together and our gratitude for the guidance of Reverend Michelle, and to demonstrate the understanding of abundance, and that by giving we receive, all of those things. And I think you all know how to do the giving. We have Venmo, and we have the ability to send a check to Reverend Michelle, and the address is on the screen if that is your preferred way of giving. Did you have the blessing?
Sorry, I was talking to you and I just realized I was muted. I do.
Okay. Everything flows from the nature of God's good. We give and receive from this flow in gratitude and love. We rest in the infinite giving nature of spirit. And so it is.
So, let's see. Announcements are Monday evening prayer group, Tuesday evening experiential. And for those of you that regularly attend the Tuesday evening class, think about a book that you would like to explore, or something you would like to explore for, because we only have a few more weeks of, not even that, maybe 3 more weeks of our The Law of Manifestation by David Spangler. And I'm open to whatever anybody wants to explore, so let me know. That, I believe this week is the prayer group, I think on the 19th, which is Wednesday, I believe. And let's see what else. We're going to be doing our collaborative meeting with service with OHOM on the 6th of April. And then on May 4th, we're going to do the Interfaith World Prayer event, for want of a better word, at St. Bartholomew's in Poway, which will also be Zoomed, and I'll have more information about that. And that's all I got. That's about it. So let's see. Lisa, you want to do the benediction, and then we'll have Jesse close us out with prayer?
You want me to close you out with prayer and then have her sing, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So let's draw ourselves back together, knowing that we are in the presence that is in, around, and through us at all times, and to celebrate how blessed we have been by this whole service, by Jesse beginning with the reminding us that we wake to a beautiful day, and that each of us is a beautiful person, that they can look in the mirror and know that we are God, as Rob says. And the wonderful talk by Reverend Michelle, which is a wonderful reminder of the journey of life. I kept thinking about the hero's journey and the fact that it is just where we are, and you meet the things that you have that sense of I got it, and then you have the sense of no, I don't. And it's like this ongoing thing of then picking up the pieces and going back to that inner knowledge that there is a presence that is always available and always there to provide you with a level of guidance that you can co-create with that presence and that force to move on and move in that spiral that keeps taking us back to that place of the full recognition and embodiment of who we really are. And it is an ongoing practice. It's you never quite get to the perfection of something until you have just gone through all of the stages. And I think we have the opportunity, and I speak my word for each and every one of us who I believe is united in this desire to be people who are recognizing that spirit wherever we are and living from that higher calling. And being able to do that allows us to really be creators of a better world. That as our example becomes stronger and stronger and united with all of the people on earth today who are in fact working in the same sense of spiritual superiority over the disaster of 3D kinds of events, that as we all unite from our individual growth, that eventually the changes that we'd like to see just occur because we co-create them with that spirit within. So I release my word with great thanksgiving and gratitude for the teachings that we have that allow us and support us, and the one heart, one mind that allows us to unite with one another to keep our growth and our increased knowledge of the wholeness and our total connection with that spirit that is everywhere. And so I release my word into the law, and I release by saying, and so it is.
So
Sorry.
that's okay. Thank you, Lisa. That was beautiful. Right, Jesse, you're up.
Okay. I was inspired to play this one. And it's kind of like if our higher selves were looking down on us when we are not in the awareness of knowing exactly who we are. That this may be what our higher selves would say to our human self if they could have a dialogue, even though they're literally the same being, right? Because I'm an extension of my higher self. I am my higher self. So here we go. Sometimes I get a glimpse of what happens in your head, and I gotta say that it sounds so ridiculous. It makes me wonder if you understand how blessed I've been feeling being with you. 'Cause you got this way of carrying the light, just like a prism giving rainbows to people passing by, projecting technicolor dreams before my eyes. You just radiated, ain't it beautiful? You got me so good that you could go and break my heart in two, and I would probably smile in awe of all of the beautiful ways that you do you. So baby, you better get used to it. My love ain't going nowhere. It starts as a spark, now my heart won't quit. My love ain't going nowhere, and your cup's too small and it all won't fit. My love ain't going nowhere. Better go to Home Depot, get a whole bucket, 'cause my love ain't going nowhere. I love to witness you in all your humanness, 'cause I get to see the things in me that you reflect. I get to reel and get this feeling in my chest. I'm in love, baby, with every little piece of you. You got me so good that you could go and leave me in the dust, and I'd be delighted to find there was more of you that I get to love. So baby, you better get used to it. My love ain't going nowhere. It starts as a spark, now my heart won't quit. My love ain't going nowhere, and your cup's too small and it all won't fit. My love ain't going nowhere. Better go to Home Depot, get a whole bucket, 'cause my love ain't going nowhere. So baby, stop playing like you ain't amazing, blazing with beauty and truth. Somebody heard me praying, craving, waiting years for a love like you. Baby, stop playing like you ain't amazing, blazing with beauty and truth. Somebody heard me praying, craving, waiting years for a love like you. I waited years for a love like you. I waited years for a love like you. I waited years for a love like you.
Oh, that was beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so
Great.
much. I am going to stop our recording now.